All right, guys, so we got our Librarian and Terminator armor, and then we have the Captain and Terminator armor. I just kind of based up everything with the blue, the McCrag blue. And now we're going to go do some metal on here. I'm going to hit the models with some Abaddon Black for the guns. And then we're going to put, what is this? Belisarius Gold as our metal trim pieces on all the different headdresses and all that kind of good stuff. So that's what we're doing. So we're going to do the guns. We're going to do the Librarian first. Just going to paint the gun up. And thankfully he has a tiny gun, so it's not that hard. And with this, I put my brush in, well, I put it in my mouth and I put it in water and all that. So it's super wet. So whenever I dip into my paint, I don't have to put it on a palette or on a paint palette or anything. So make sure I get all the little finer details. That back of the water. Put some U on there. And I know there's probably people in the comments like, that is the worst paint job. But I think the end result is not so bad. Considering I'm painting with a, what is this? The starter brush. I think it's turning out pretty well. They are tabletop models. I mean, don't get me wrong, guys. I'm not winning any contests anytime soon. But my minis are definitely not looking bad. And also, I'm using on only, like, I'm like drop painting, where I just get, like, a barely little bit on the end. Like, you can't even see it. Like, just a barely little tip of it. And so that's what I'm adding on at a time. So I'm not, like, putting a large glob on there by any stretch of the means. And I'm just barely getting in there. I think that's the one real positive thing that I have going for me. Is I'm not just like glopping on a bunch of paint. And I know a lot of people that like stick their brush all the way inside of there. Like, that's not good. But I definitely, just a little skosh on the end of this. There we go. One thing I like to do also is whenever I see a piece dried, I'll run the rest of whatever I have. Like, I did everything on this, and then it's dried on the other half of the bolter. So I'm just kind of running the rest of my brush over top, just putting a nicer layer on top of that. That way it's really saturated in the black on here. And every little portion is filled up. So you got the bolter where it's nicely on there. And we're also going to do the, let's see, what else needs to be black on him. I was thinking about doing the helmet and all these other pieces coming down as black, but I think I'm just going to leave it and make the hilt of this sword, because it's supposed to be an axe. I bought this and it was one of those, I So I go to this place called Battlegrounds here in Midlothian. I think I paid, I want to say they're $18 for him. So instead of spending, what does this model cost? Like $40 or something. They have it where people have either converted or dropped off older minis, and I probably could have gotten a axe from someone, but the sword's kind of cool. I dig it. I dig the power sword, and it doesn't have to be a power sword in the game. It's just, I think it's just a power weapon is what the keyword is on there. So it's not the end of the world if he has a sword instead of the axe. Just make sure I get all the fine little details on everything. That looks nice. And then I'm going to do the hilt of the sword. The hilt? Is that what it's called? The hand piece? Pretty sure that's called the hilt. Let me know down in the comments what that is. Cool. That turned out pretty good. Yeah, not too bad. So he's all done up. I don't know if you can see it. He doesn't actually have a whole lot going on with him, so that was kind of easy. And now for the Terminator Captain, he's got little bit larger of a gun. In all honesty, I think they're the same. I just think that the model for the Terminator used larger guns. I mean, comparing these guns to that, this one's just slightly larger. And I'm pretty sure it's the same gun. Pretty freaking sure it's the same gun. So I'm going to be playing my first game, which I'm kind of excited about, on Wednesday, I believe. And so I want to make sure I have all my models painted up, because you don't want to be the guy showing up and you don't have any models painted. You know, you don't want to show up with an army that's gray. That is lame. Well, that definitely makes you look like a noob. And I am a noob, but at the same time is I don't need the whole world to give another reason to make fun of me for it, because I decided to show up with a bunch of gray army, unpainted. You know, like, this is one thing I do have in my control with this game. I can control how good my models look, you know? And that's what I'm doing. I'm making sure I show up prepared. I need to go look at the rules. Make sure I have that. Make sure I have some dice. Make sure I have a tape measure, I was told. I need the tape measure. So I'm no longer using those little plastic pieces like an actual noob. Which, that's actually pretty cool, because if you just like got this get starting kit that this Space Marine Captain came in, it's actually kind of nice, because you literally do not need to buy anything. You can just play with those two armies, and like that can be your board game. So I thought that was kind of cool that they did it that way, where they had all the models, all the dice, all the movements, like, or the movement stick stuff. I thought that was really cool how they did that. But again, that's to get started. And then now we're trying to go a little bit more advanced because I am enjoying this a lot. Whenever I first did this, as soon as I finished up painting my Space Marines, and I put them in my last video where I got the paint kit. That's where I got all this paint from for painting up my Ultramarines. And I'll tell you what, I got so into the painting just because I feel they turned out very well. You know, some people in the comments probably have other things to say, but for a first-time painter, if you go back and watch that video, I think I did a damn good job. Also, I sent them to one of my buddies who's actually teaching me how to play. And he was like, yeah, dude, that's actually like ridiculously good for your first couple models. So, pretty happy with that. And I've been working on my brush control. So, like, going around this, I've been, like, just practicing, like, going around, making the outlines and stuff. And I know everything's just going to be black. It's just going to be black. But at the same time I just wanted to make sure I'm practicing getting on all the little creases and all that kind of good stuff. That way, whenever I do have to paint, like, a color between two colors. Does that make sense? Like my brush control is good. So and I've also been running it multiple different directions instead of just let's see. I am excited for this new edition to come out because apparently they said that Space Marine always, the Ultramarines in particular, always are getting some sort of update because they're like the poster boys, which is cool. But it would kind of suck to, like, you know, start an army and then it gets nerfed and then it sucks. And oh, there we go. I couldn't get this little dot on the inside here. So to make sure I'm getting all the color up that I need, or the color fill, I guess to call it, the color fill. And I thought about basing this whole thing black. I did that with my Tyranids, and the colors just get sucked up inside of that whenever you base something black. So I just decided against that. I guess gray or white is the color you want to use if you're doing anything but like a darker black color or something. Like if I was making these Black Templar, I would 100,000% just base this thing black and everything would have been so much easier. All right, that turned out nice. Came out pretty clean. Pretty clean. Let's see. What else on you needs to be black, though? What do you need to be black? Do I make his cape black? No, we're not doing that. You don't particularly have any other details on these that need to be black. There's like purity seals and stuff like that. But, that does need to be black. I might actually hit him with another base coat. Just because I want it to be more vibrant. Yeah. It's all good. How about this little piece on the back here needs to be re-glued? All right. Clean the brush. And close up the Abaddon Black. Abaddon Black. Such a cool color. Also, what a cool character. Like a antagonist, like bad guy. Like, he's literally just like a giant piece of crap that is just like mad at the entire world because his buddy died, which is all right. He's a real gym bro for that. You always have to put it in your mouth. That way you get the bristles just right. Did you really get the bristles correct if you didn't put it in your mouth? I really have been like focusing on like my brush control a lot more on models. Go slowly. And in all honesty, it's not that hard to paint little tiny details. I'll tell you this, sometimes I feel like I'm going blind whenever I'm looking at these though. I think I paint a good army tabletop. Like, I'm an army tabletop painter. You know what I mean? Like, what I just painted, it's good, but it's not that good. You know what I mean? Like, it came out good, but it's not like I'm the greatest at it yet. What I paint is going to look good for the guy who wants to go play around with his buddies and have an army that looks like it's supposed to be there, but it's not winning any shows or contests. Yeah. That turned out very nice, actually. I like on these how they have the iron halo on top of all the skulls because he has an iron halo. I think that's a cool little detail. Who is messaging me? Someone's messaging me. Who dares to message me? Such cool little details on these. One thing I am making sure I do is rotate, just because I feel like I work better if I pull back as opposed to push in. I think that's how you're supposed to do it for painting. Again, I'm a beginner. Y'all are more than welcome to tell me, hey bro, you're supposed to be pushing in, but I always find it easier to just start in a corner, kind of get my brush right, and then work it in. And this is no one telling me how to paint these. This is just me going online, seeing how different paint jobs look, and try to emulate that. And I always end up having to go back here lately and repaint over something because I got some sort of something ran over, or it's just a slight bit of like bronze that went over the armor on the little emblem here and stuff like that, which is fine. It's okay to go back over that stuff, right? It's not the end of the world. That actually came out kind of swaggy looking. Not bad at all. And again, there's like a little spot right there that I went over that I'll just boop with the blue here in a little bit. But I just don't want to like slow my momentum down. Like, I'm feeling good. I'm enjoying it. I want to make sure I'm getting all my stuff. Just like anything else in life, you want to make sure you're doing the right thing, and whenever you got the momentum, you don't quit. You just keep going. Am big believer on I'm going to make mistakes, but it's only paint, so I always can go back over it. It's not the end of the world. Not the end of the world. 'Cause it's the end of the world and we know it. Cue the song. Alright. I'm trying to be not hyper detail oriented with this, but make it look good. You know what I mean, boys? You know what I mean? And girls, I'm not sure. There might be a girl. I think right now I only have one subscriber, and it's a fellow. Appreciate that. And if my channel gets big, I won't forget you. I will hopefully get to meet you. I think that would be kind of cool to meet your first subscriber. Like, hey, this is Timmy. He was your first subscriber 7 years ago. Like, that would be pretty cool if you were like a big time YouTuber or something. I think that would be really cool. Cause it's the end of the world and we know it. Alright. That looks good. Again, I still gotta go over and do a little boop boop with the blue. But so far, so good. We're gonna paint the hilt of this sword before we go and we do the iron halo. These swords are really cool. These like master crafted. It's got the angel wings on it and stuff. A lot of skulls on all these. Cause at the end, now I have it stuck in my head. If you guys leave the video because of that, I'm sorry. Alright, here we go. So what do we got to talk about? About me. So I'm in Richmond, Virginia. So I'm from the United States. I used to live up in Northern Virginia until high school. Then I came down here. So when someone asks me where are you from, I always just say Richmond, Virginia. Just because I spent majority of my life down here. Where are some of the places you guys are from? Let me know in the comments. I think that'd be kind of cool. Figure that out. See how far away people are. I think that's interesting about this kind of platform is you can have a person from Germany, from England, from California. Heck, you could be from Richmond, Virginia. If you are, and you're watching this, I'm assuming you're into Warhammer or getting into Warhammer. And we should play a game. That's one thing I'm going to try to do is get more interactive with people. Like, if you're a subscriber and you're within driving distance, we should get together and play a game. And not the kind of game like, you know, what's that movie? Saw. You want to play a game? That's wild. But yeah, I think that would be pretty cool. I don't see a lot of YouTubers doing that. Like, hey, subscriber, come meet me here. They're always just doing their own kind of battle report. I think it'd be cool to have a subscriber come here and probably come here and kick my army's ass. But you know, I definitely wouldn't mind gaming against you, but please don't just bring everything to counter my entire army. Make me look terrible. That would be not cool. But yeah, I think that would be cool to just get together with subscribers or just people from the channel and you show up and we game and yeah. Because it's the end of the world and you know it. So someone was telling me that, like, if you put too much paint on the brush, it's gonna clog it up. Sometimes I feel like I'm putting too little paint on the brush and I'm having to go back and re-dip, like, every 3 strokes. It's crazy. But that could just because I don't think you're supposed to be doing, like, dot painting like I am. There's got to be a better technique. Also, if you're watching this and you're like, dude, you cannot paint, send me a paint tutorial of what you use, or hey, make a video yourself and send it my way. That would actually be really cool. Or if you're watching this by some act of God and you're actually a famous miniature painting YouTuber, let me know and I'd like to collaborate. We can jump on a Teams or Zoom call and you can walk me through painting and make me not look like such an idiot. You know? I think that would actually be really cool. And if you're, who was I watching? Squidmar Miniatures, and you guys are watching this, hello. And I would love to come collaborate with you guys. I think they do some really cool models, and they do the funny, like, Temu. You buy stuff off of Temu and try it out. Some of that stuff is actually hilarious. I also watch, what is her name? Alex, I think. I don't know. She's the Blood Angels girl, the vampire girl. You know, the one she's hot, but she's kind of weird, and you're like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that on here. I hope she doesn't take offense to that. I mean it as a compliment. Like, obviously, I'm all the way here in the U.S., so I'm not meeting her anytime soon. But, yeah. Alrighty, we're almost there. Almost there. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Nice, nice baby. Do, 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 do. Something else. So I got that get started set. And I have the Tyranids, and I kind of been really leaning in on the Ultramarines. But there's a guy at my store who also said once I learned how to play, he'd like to play me with his Xeno army. So it's Xeno army against Xeno army. And I thought that would be cool. Get two perspectives on the game here. So I think one important thing for a beginner is to find, like, so I met people off of Discord that are showing me how to game. So if I was you, I would try that, because I literally just messaged on Facebook. Like, there's a store page. So I play here in Richmond, Virginia at Battlegrounds. And so I messaged Battlegrounds, was like, hey, when do new players come in to learn to play and stuff like that? Like, how does that work? And they're like, oh, bro, we have nights for that. And then they told me about a couple, but they're not for like a while. And then he's like, you can also reach out on our Discord, because again, it was kind of a while before the new beginner night or whatever. And so I was like, all right, cool. So I went on to their Discord. I said, hey, is anyone willing to teach a person how to get into Warhammer and how to game? And literally within the first, I say the first 2 days, I got at least 2 messages from people. Well, technically 3. One guy was trying to like give me some more Tyranid stuff, and one guy was like, the one, well, his name's AJ. He's the one who I'm actually going to game against. He's gonna show me everything. And yeah, so just reach out to people, and they will, be cool and be like, yeah, man, like, come meet me on this night, and I'll show you. And he had me download a couple of these army apps so I can practice building a list and all that. And he has all the models, really. Like, I'm bringing my guys that I'm doing now, but like, he's got a bunch of stuff. He has a Redemptor. He's got, what are we doing? Redemptor, Intercessor Squad, a Caligar model, but I think we're gonna proxy this guy as the Caligar model. Calgar? I think it's Calgar model. He had I think they're called Repulsor. He just had a 1,000-point Space Marine, Ultramarine army, and was like, dude, you're gonna come use these, because he actually plays Salamanders. And so he's been doing it for like 5 or 4 years. So he's told me he's bought like all the starter sets and all that kind of good stuff. And so I was like, all right, cool. That's what I'll do. I'll go and use your stuff instead of just going out and buying, whatever I think, because it's meta. He told me, he's like, dude, just come here and you're gonna go play these models. That way you get it and he's using almost the exact same list as me. He just has a little bit more flamethrowers and stuff. But yeah. But dude, that's probably the best way to do it is just hit up your local store Facebook group, which I guarantee, unless it's like a brand new store and they haven't like done anything yet, because I keep hearing that like Warhammer 40,000 is like gatekeeper or something, and I just haven't ran into that. Like every time I go into the store, everyone's pretty chill. They always say hi. They always know me as the guy who goes in there and just looks at stuff and leaves without buying stuff. It's kind of funny because now that I say that, like, hey, I'm trying to get into it, they're like, dude, we recognize you. Like, they knew exactly who I was right off the get go. They're like, yeah, you could have stopped in. We just had a night like that, so that's why it's not for a while. And all these other people, they told me about Discord and all that. Yeah, and the people that are gonna teach me, the two, like they're super cool. Like how many people would just say, hey, yeah, come up here, use my models, that way you don't just go out and buy whatever. And so you definitely can tell that they want you to enjoy the game and stick with it. Yeah, because who else would say like, yeah, come in here with a 1,000 point army, bring your own. Like I would be over here paint like I wouldn't even have time to go do that, you know? Oof. Yeah, we're doing that instead. I did something on this end that I don't want to do. I just want to paint the whole thing. There we go. What is this called? Belisarius bronze? Balthasaurus blonde. Balthasaurus gold. Jeez almighty. I was saying blonde, bronze. Alright. That looks way better that way. Yep. So what I have to say to new players, if you're watching this, don't be afraid to comment. That's one thing I don't want to do is have people afraid to comment. Leave a comment. If you liked it, tell me. Hey, wasn't too bad. All right. So that is him. Looks pretty good. I might make some of the I don't know what to call them. They're like the little armor things on the side of them. And paint some of those white. Oh, white. Or I guess Corax white. Apparently people have been telling me not to buy the Citadel color white. We're about to learn now on why, but I'm putting for the parchment paper. So hopefully it's not too terrible. Also, I need to figure out how to do the decals. Because I definitely want to put decals on this, like the Ultramarine. So this is kind of good for parchment paper look. I don't know why people are saying don't use Games Workshop stuff. Just because it's like a off-white. But I guess if, you know, whenever you think of white, you think of like a actual white. So I kind of get that, where they say don't use it. Hmm. Not bad at all. Does he have any more purity seals hidden away somewhere? Yeah, he's got one more on the top of his. I do have to say one thing about these miniatures is less is enough. Just do less. And whatever you think it is, do half. That's what I've been finding out is you don't have to have like a ton of paint on stuff. You don't have to have like a bunch of whatnot. Typically, just a barely little drop is all you need. Is that the last of your seals there, buddy? Now you got one more hidden on your leg right here. Of course he does. He's the captain of the Ultramarines. He's got him coming out the yin yang. All right, cool. Nice. Maybe a couple more dashes here and there to seal up the deal. Seal up the deal. It's actually quite nice models. Cool. I think you are about done. What else do we need to do other than your face? Maybe some touch-ups? A little bit of touch-ups. Some blue touch-up. Put you up. So far, I'm pretty happy with the way the paint is with the Games Workshop stuff. Again, I know there's people that are like, dude, why are you paying all that money for it? Because I'm new. I didn't know any better. Also, I just wanted to get what do Ultramarines need for color-wise. And I got just that, you know? Nice. Anything else? Anything else? Well, that's it. Officially painted up. Obviously, I need to do some stuff with the face and all that kind of stuff. But as far as like what all I'm gonna be painting on him, that's pretty much it. I just gotta fool around with the face and put some decals on. Decals. Put those on him and do the base. So now for the librarian, I think I'm gonna just paint that one up off camera. And I'll show you guys the end result here in just a minute. But yeah, guys, thanks for hanging out. I hope you'd enjoy. And yeah, if you want to come along with my Warhammer 40,000 journey, like and subscribe.